Okay, so the chapter actually opens up with Rebecca and Shiki flying through the sky, and Shiki's actually telling Rebecca again about how Shura kidnapped Witch. Then the two of them get attacked by a bunch of security bots, but lucky for them, as soon as they get attacked, they actually run back into Pino, Happy, and Moskoy, and as soon as Rebecca and Happy are reunited, she puts them in AR gun mode, and the two of them proceed to destroy all the security bots that were attacking them. And now that the five of them are reunited, Pino actually has the idea that they should use the back alleys to make their way through the city, instead of going through the sky because there's a bunch of security bots and they'll just end up running into more trouble. And then this is when Shiki actually brings up the question of where are Homura and Wise, and we actually get to see the two characters in two separate panels, and we see that Wise is making his way through the city trying to reunite with everyone else, and we see that Homura is still in the underground tunnel with Creed, and she's still embarrassed about what he said a few chapters ago, so she's trying to get away from him, but because of the fact that the two of them have to go in the same direction anyway, they're kind of stuck together for now. And then we actually spend the rest of the chapter watching the tag team fight between Calm and Lyra versus Jin and Klein, and it seems like at least in the beginning, that Klein definitely had the advantage over Lyra, because Lyra was actually the first to attack, and all her attacks in this chapter are based on her just kind of throwing playing cards, kind of like Gambit from the X-Men. So yeah, Lyra throws 3 playing cards at Klein, and Klein is seemingly able to easily reflect them right back at her. Then we cut over to the fight between Jin and Calm for a second, and we see that Jin's actually throwing some Sky Mech Ninjutsu at Calm, but Calm's actually able to easily dodge it, and he actually surprises Jin by throwing at him his own Sky Mech Ninjutsu right back at him. So yeah, it turns out that Calm also knows Sky Mech Ninjutsu, which makes sense because again, his character motif is that of a ninja, like I said in my last review. There's obviously some easy similarities between these two characters, and we end up finding out that also their abilities are pretty much named in a similar way as well, because all of Jin's attacks are actually named after the Wind God, while Calm names all his attacks after the Mist God. So again, the two of them actually have a lot of similarities to each other, and we end up finding out that there's actually a bit of a backstory between these two characters as well. But anyway, once Calm actually lands an attack on Jin, Klein actually gets distracted, and this actually gives Lyra the chance to throw 3 flaming cards at her, which at first it seems like Klein is actually able to block it at the last second, but then they explode again, kind of like Gambit from the X-Men, and actually do some serious damage to Klein. Then we actually spend the rest of the chapter focusing on the fight between Jin and Calm, which is very one-sided on Calm's favor, and we end up getting a flashback between the two characters where we find out that 9 years ago, the two of them trained in the same dojo where Calm was the only person in that dojo who wouldn't make fun of Jin for being an Olmec, and the two of them actually became fast friends who would train together quite often. Then we come back to the present day, and we see again, like I said, the fight's pretty one-sided with Calm having the obvious victory, and he actually ends up landing an attack on Jin that seemingly is turning his body into mist, and we end up finding out that this is apparently an Imperial attack that uses Empire Ether, which I know that characters can use Ether energy outside of their own natural Ether energy, but this is actually the first time I think we actually heard of someone with an Ether gear ability using ether energy from something else outside of their own body. But anyway, we end up finding out that this attack apparently, which I think is called Carburetor, it's a weird spelling, I'm not actually sure how to pronounce it, but we end up finding out that apparently this technique turns its opponent into mist, which I don't actually see how Jin's actually going to end up getting out of this, because by the end of the chapter, a good portion of his arm and the, I want to say left side of his body has been turned into mist. So maybe in the next chapter when we actually get to see him use his overdrive, I'm assuming that he will use that because he obviously has to have gained it after training with Zenolo for that week, that maybe that will fix his body, but still, I don't know, I'm having a hard time seeing exactly how Jin's going to win this fight by himself. Because I mean, when it comes to Klein fighting off against Lyra, I have no doubt that Klein can win that fight by herself, because the only reason why Lyra landed an attack on her in this chapter was because she got distracted by Jin. So as long as she actually focuses on the fight, she should definitely come out with the victory by herself. But when it comes to Jin, since he was one-sidedly being beaten by Calm, if he uses overdrive, then maybe that might give him the power boost to be on equal terms, or at the very least just slightly stronger than Calm. But considering that a few chapters ago, when the set told everyone that they actually had overdrive, Calm didn't seem that worried about that, so that tells me that Calm might also have overdrive, which if he does, then I don't see how Jin can win this fight by himself. So we might end up seeing a tag team match with Calm fighting off against both Jin and Klein at the same time, once Lyra's defeated. But anyway, guys, yeah, that's pretty much it for the chapter. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the next chapter. We're not going to begin the chapter next week, so we're going to have to wait 2 weeks for it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. I really do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop me a like, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.